All right, so back to level 100. We're going to talk some statistics and some time and what it takes and look at some numbers and crunch some of this stuff. But there's a big number out there, and that's how much XP in total does it take to get to level 100. Before I begin, I'm going to give a little credit to a Mineplex player. His name's Vuvi. He invented a thread post and started figuring out how much XP it takes to get to each level. Chis then verified it, and he has a thread which I'm going to link below, which you can take a look at. It'll show you level by level how much XP it takes to level up. It summarizes everything and gets you down to the big number. The big number is how much XP in total does it take to get from level 0 to level 100. If you're not aware of it, if you're not familiar with this number, I'm going to give it to you. It's 10,672,500. 10,672,500 XP will get you from level 0 to level 100. That's a lot of XP. If you guys know how many games you play, it's a heck of a lot of XP. So I did a little math, some quick math here. If you were to play a game of Mineplex, any game, and get 500 XP in that game, you'd have to play that game 21,345 times to get to level 100. 21,345 times. Now, if that game lasted 5 minutes, you would need to play that game for 74 straight days, non-stop, to level up from level 0 to level 100. That's literally how long that would take. If you were getting 1,000 XP per game, it would take 37 straight days of non-stop playing a game that lasts 5 minutes in length to go from level 0 to level 100. Just amazing numbers, amazing length of time. So I'm going to call level 100 the long road because it really is a journey. It is not overnight. It's longer than any marathon you've ever seen. And we're going to get into length of time and how long it takes. I've already briefly mentioned it if you played straight through how many days in a row it would be. But it's definitely something that's not going to happen overnight. And as Blazespot said earlier, don't make yourself crazy staring at your number every day, looking at it. Take your time, have fun, play on Mineplex. If you play enough, you're going to level up over time, and eventually you're going to get there. And yeah, every once in a while you're going to get caught up in the numbers and stuff like that. For example, the other day I was 11,000 XP away from leveling up, and I was beat, tired, but I was like, you know what? I'm going to level up and then call it a night. And I got a little carried away for the last 11,000. But most of the time I try not to pay too much attention to it. I just play, and then every once in a while I look around. But miners probably agree with that as well, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
And you're level 64 right now, so you're making progress, and we'll get to how far you are along the way in just a little bit. But hey, Blazespot, just out of curiosity, at the end of every game, it just says how much XP you got, but it just doesn't add it to anything. It just tells you what you earned.
No, it just doesn't show anything.
Doesn't show anything, so you don't get. So if you were going in a game to try to get a world record for XP, you can't even do it.
No.
Wow, that's interesting. So once you get to level 100, you can't get a record. Interesting. Well, I wonder if Mineplex was able to fix that so that at least it would show how much XP you would have gotten, so you could at least go for records or something like that. That's kind of interesting. All right, so how does the XP calculations work, and in the way that Mineplex set this thing up? Well, basically, once again, thanks to Vuvi for this thread, because he really did put the numbers together and crunched everything and put together a nice little spreadsheet for everybody. But the higher you go, basically, the more XP it's required to level up. It's that simple. Starting off at the lower levels, the first one is you have to get 500 XP, and then it grows by 500 increments. So from 500 XP, then you got to get 1,000 XP to level up, then 1,500 XP to level up, and so on and so forth. And as we move up the levels, it starts to change. For example, in the 50s, you jump up 3,000 XP a level. So going from 51 to 52 level, it's 91,000 XP. But then going from 52 to 53, it's 94,000 XP. And when you get into the 90s, it moves up by 5,000 XP every single level. And when you add all that up with everything, you end up with, once again, the big number, 10,672,500 XP, which is a really, really big number, as we're going to see in just a little bit as we dissect this a little further. All right, so a couple quick facts. Level 100. Once again, 10,672,500 is the total XP needed to go from level 0 to level 100. Percentage of the way there. How far along are you on the XP hunt to level 100? Well, At level 43 to level 44, if that's where you are now, you are only 10% of the way there. That's right, 10% level 43 to level 44. At level 60 to 61, somewhere between 60 and 61, you reach the 25% mark. You're only 25% of the way there. So miners, you're level 64, you're probably between 25 and 30% of the way there to level 100, which is just crazy at level 64.
Yeah.
The midway point is between level 77 and level 78. That's the 50% point. And again, it's not level 50 because the XP goes up in increments along the way. So it's more or less the total XP. So the way the calculations work, again, the 50% mark is between level 77 and 78. So that's the halfway point. 75th percent point, when you're 75% of the way there, is, believe it or not, between level 90 and 91. So you get all the way up to level 90, and you're only 75% of the way there. So just crazy. And to get to the 90% mark, level 95 to 96. So you're there at 95 to 96, you're 90% of the way there, and the last 10% is the last 4 levels, which again, kind of showing you why this is a marathon and not a sprint. It's not going to happen overnight. Another statistic, going from level 99 to level 100, that one level requires 295,000 XP to level up from 99 to 100. And that's the same as going from level 0 to level 26. So at level 26, you've worked your way up to the same equivalent of going from level 99 to level 100. Pretty amazing. Hey, Blazespot, any recollection how long it took you to get to that last one when you were there at 99? How many days or so?
Probably about 5, because I just completely try-hard it.
Yeah, I figured by the time you got to that, you're just like, this is it. I'm at the last. You're at the sprint part of the whole run, not the marathon part. So pretty amazing. So, and the last statistic, this is even more amazing. Going from 91 to 100, the last 10 levels requires 2,725,000 XP. That's the same thing as going from level 0 to level 60. And miners now, who's level 64, must be like, wow. Because all that work just to get to level 60, it's the same distance going from 91 to 100. It's just an amazing thing how much harder it takes to level up once the higher and higher you go in the level system. So, nice. Again. All right, way to go, Blazespot. Another victory in our mixed arcade days on pretty cool watching you there. That was awesome. Way to go, dude. All right, so talking about distance and time and how long it takes, I'm going to run some numbers and put some numbers up on the screen just to show you some different examples. Ran a couple hypotheticals. We're going to assume different levels of XP earned on an hourly basis, because it seems like a lot of people, that's kind of how they calculate their gameplay. The ones that are actually going for the higher levels kind of study how long it takes from a time frame and stuff like that. So I ran a couple hypotheticals. 2,500 XP an hour, 5,000 XP an hour, 7,500, 10,000, and then I did 20,000 XP an hour too, just to show you what a really high advanced gameplay could be. So basically, if you do 2,500 XP an hour, and it would take you 4,269 hours to get to level 100. And that's 178 days, which is pretty amazing. Again, you'd have to play 178 days consecutively to do that. Just shows you the length of time. If you were earning 5,000 XP an hour, it would take you 2,134 hours, which is a cumulative time of 89 days. Moving up, 7,500 XP an hour would take 1,423 hours, or 59.3 days. And at 10,000 XP an hour, you're looking at 1,067 hours, which is 44.5 days. And finally, I ran a hypothetical at 20,000 XP an hour because after talking to Draz, who has a lot of world records in Type Wars, he did a number crunch for me and ended up in 1 hour earning 19,700 XP. So what the heck? Let's see what it looks like at 20,000 XP an hour. 533 hours of gameplay, or 22.2 straight days. Those days assume you play non-stop. Which again we know is impossible, but just showing you length of time to get there, it just does not happen overnight. Now to look at some numbers that you could realistically set as a measuring goal, running some hypotheticals once again, looking at if you earned X amount of XP per hour and played for either 1, 2, or 3 hours a day, how many days it would take for you to get to level 100. So basically looking at something that's more modest. Hey, if I play every day for an hour, this is how many days it'll take, earning X amount of XP per hour. So starting off with the low end number, and I did 2,500 XP an hour. That's kind of basically, I would think, the casual gamer who doesn't really have an advanced skill set in a game, isn't really a pro at something, is decent game player, doesn't win all the time, but manages to hang in there and stuff like that. So looking at that, 2,500 XP an hour, if you played for 1 hour a day, you'd obviously earn 2,500 XP a day. It would take you 4,269 days to get to level 100. And that comes out to 11.7 years. So clearly that's going to take quite a bit of time for you to get there playing 1 hour a day at 2,500 XP. But if you played 2,500 XP an hour and you played 2 hours a day, it would take you 5.8 years. And if you played for 3 hours a day and earned 2,500 XP, it would take you 3.9 years. And I have to be honest, I think those numbers are unrealistic, because even if that's where you were at the beginning, you would become a much improved player, and your earnings per hour XP would probably improve pretty dramatically along the way. So going to 5,000 XP an hour, which is really more of a more manageable number. You're looking probably at a player who wins more than they loses, finishes in the top groups, gets a lot of kills, and earns a decent amount of XP in gameplay at 5,000 XP an hour. If you played for 1 hour a day, obviously you would earn 5,000 XP per day. It would take you 5.8 years to get to level 100. Almost 6 years playing once a day, every day for 1 hour, and earning 5,000 XP a day. Moving up to 2 hours a day at 5,000 XP an hour, it would take you 2.9 years. And if you played for a whopping 3 hours a day, every day, and you earned 5,000 XP an hour, it would take you 1.95 years, just shy of 2 years to get yourself up to level 100. All right, moving up a little bit, 7,500 XP a day. Again, now we're looking at a very good player whose earnings are pretty good and really good in games, and figured out the game that they like, that they're really good at, because earning 7,500 XP an hour is pretty good. Obviously, that's 7,500 in a day. So if you played for 1 hour a day, it would take you 3.9 years to get to level 100. So you earn 7,500 XP an hour, you play once a day for an hour, you're looking at 3.9 years. If you play for 2 hours a day at the pace of 7,500 XP an hour, you're looking at 2.9 years. And if you do that for 3 hours a day, which I think is a little unrealistic, 1.3 years. So it's possible to get it in 1.3 years at a pace of 7,500 XP an hour if you play for 3 hours a day. Moving up to 10,000 XP an hour, which is really an advanced player who's really good at games, does very well, has a lot of wins under their belt, wins way more than they lose. And a lot of players that I've spoken to who are way up there in the 60s, 70s, 80s, and 90s, and you ask them how much XP do you earn an hour, a lot of them come out with the 10,000 an hour along those lines. So let's dissect the 10,000 XP an hour. 1 hour a day, 10,000 XP a day, obviously. You're looking at 2.9 years, so just shy of 3 years to get to level 100. So basically a really good player who's excellent, who gets 10,000 XP an hour, plays an hour a day. You're looking at a 3-year process to get up to level 100. If you do that for 2 hours a day, it drops down to about 1.5 years. So it takes you about 1.5 years to get to level 100, earning 10,000 XP an hour and playing on average 2 hours a day. Moving up to 3 hours a day, you're looking at basically about 1 year, just shy of 1 year. So it's pretty possible. Can you do it in a year? Absolutely. 3 hours a day, earning 10,000 XP an hour, and you're there in 355 days, just shy of 1 year. And finally, with the big number, 20,000 XP an hour, which is where some of you on Type Wars that are excellent, such as Draz, are able to achieve. You're obviously earning 20,000 XP a day. You're looking at 1.46 years to get to level 100. If you do that for 2 hours a day and can somehow manage that pace, you're getting 40,000 XP a day. You're looking at a little less than 9 months to get all the way up to level 100. And if you can somehow manage to keep that pace, earning 20,000 XP an hour for 3 hours a day, every day, you're looking at 177 days, or just shy of 6 months. So once again, it's not going to happen overnight. There's just no way. And I look at the average player, miners. I think would both of you guys agree? Maybe like a really good player probably earns between 5,000 and 10,000 XP an hour.
I would say yeah.
Blazespot, did you ever calculate what you were doing along the way? Did you ever look at numbers like that when you were crunching things, or did you just play and not really worry too much? Or
Yeah, I just played with like daily goals of certain amount.
got you daily goals every single day?
Yeah.
Gotcha. And I guess that's what some people are probably doing now along the way. Because again, at level 90, you're not even close. So you get all the way up to 90, and you still have a huge distance to go from there and stuff like that. All right, so Blazespot, I did your math for the amount of days that it took you. It took you 343 days to go from level 0 to level 100. And when I divide 10,672,500 by the number of days, you earned 31,115 XP per day. That was your earnings number. You had any idea that that's the pace you're on?
Oh.
It's just pretty amazing, though. So you are the high end of the number, earning 31,000 XP a day, which is pretty amazing. I don't even want to ask how many hours a day you played, because we can all probably do the math and figure that out and stuff like that. But just pretty amazing. And I guess when you look back, everyone will have their pace. You'll be able to calculate your own number from that starting point, or from when you started on Mineplex, for how long it took you once you get to level 100, which is pretty amazing. And as we move forward here in 2016, anyone want to guess, miners? Any idea how many people you think by the end of the year will be level 100?
Let me guess 10 to 20.
10 to 20? Blazespot, what do you think?
Maybe 8.
You think 8? Yeah, it's pretty interesting. I don't see too many in the 90s, and I know how long it takes from 90 to 100. I see so many 70s and 80s and a few up there. So you guys are it'll be interesting to see what happens by the end of the year, how many people join the club. And I will say, going back to the world records, and we talk about this in every video, look, I'm never going to catch my friend Snake who has 6,000 wins. It's just not going to happen. But there's clubs that you can join. There's other records that you don't have to beat. You can just achieve by getting an accomplishment. And obviously, at some point in 2 or 3 years, there's going to be an entire club of level 100s, and it'll be a little bit diluted. But again, you can get yourself in the record books down the road, because it's not going to happen overnight, by leveling up and getting yourself up to level 100 and stuff like that. I had originally said with miners when we first started talking that I thought the All Achievements Club was the toughest thing to get, and he kind of laughed at me a little bit, if you remember that. And you're like, no, level 100 is the hardest thing to get. And definitely trying to earn 10 million XP, 10.6 million XP is beyond the hardest thing to get, and that is definitely the elite club of all the clubs out there. And I'm sure Blazespot will welcome new members down the road as new people join them into that club and stuff like that, and which is pretty cool. So, all right, as we play one of my favorite Bomb Lobbers maps here, I'm going to wrap this thing up. I just looked at myself, and I'm level 45, which means I basically about 11% of the way there. And from doing all this, there's no way I'm going to pay attention to this anymore. It just doesn't make any sense. Level 45, and it's taken a long time, and I'm only 11% of the way there. Miners, you're barely 25% of the way there, a little over that. And Blazespot, fortunately, you're already there, which is kind of cool. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. You learned a little bit. Level 100, take your time. It's not going to happen overnight. When you're at level 77 to 78, you're only halfway there. So you still have another couple million XP to get. So just don't rush. Take your time. You guys want to say goodbye? Adios, whatever?
We'll see you guys.
Bye.
Blazespot, see you later. Thank you so much for coming on to join us. It's a pleasure. Anyone gets a chance to watch this guy, you always want to be on his team. I can tell you that much. And if you're not on his team, look out, because it looks like he wins way more than he loses. Some incredible stats there. And congratulations once again for being the very first Mineplex player, level 100 in the history of Mineplex. Way to go, dude.